Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Such a Yo, a.k.a. Coach Bird, and I'm the host of the BYRDCAGE Show. Cousin Tracy?
What's up?
What's going on with you?
Chilling.
Yeah, we got a Cousins event that
Yep,
we about
today.
to take care of, you know what I'm
Yep.
saying, for all those, that watch. We usually tape on Saturdays, airs on Monday, but we got our second annual Cousins event coming up after we get done taping and whatnot. Last night, we had a good time.
Yeah, had a good time. Thank you, John Doe.
You know what I'm saying? John Doe, appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? We went to a sneaker ball out in Jersey City.
It kind of was like a sneaker exhibit. Yeah, 50 years in hip hop.
50 years of hip hop.
At a little art gallery type situation,
Yes,
little
indeed.
DJ music, some finger foods, nice little wine, nice little setup.
Nice little turnout. The BYRDCAGE Show, we live, in effect. John Doe had us down here in Jersey City, down here checking out the sneaker event, you know what I'm saying, before we get to this party. Some of my squad that I haven't seen in years.
Speaking
Shouts
of
out
your
to
squad,
Lance, Mitty, you know what I'm saying? Jay, you know what I'm saying? Got a chance to meet one of hip hop's legends from the Lords of the Underground, Do It All, who's now a councilman.
Right, but
you know
speaking about your squad, so I'm coming to learn about my cousin, who I think I'm close to. He knows all these important people. His days of not minding his business at Lehigh and taking care of business at Howard, he's connected to some real solid black people. Newark's mayor's brother, such. The Lords of the Underground. I'm like, you know these people? I'm shocked. So I'm learning all this new stuff.
A little something, cuz. A little something.
Black excellence. And listen, Howard had it in the 90s. Probably got it in the 2000s too, but I know in the 90s, anybody went to Howard.
They went to Howard. Shout out to HU.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy, real quick before we get started? I was telling the kids about last night, and I was like, the guy from the Lords of the Underground, no, you wouldn't know him, but it was like a hip hop crew back in the 90s, and Tracy Lee, and I was singing Party Time, all them things. And I said, but the crazy part about it is, in our generation, Puffy Combs, those guys went to college. These new artists, they barely finish in high school, and they think that this rap game is going to last forever. And these guys are like the founders of hip hop, and at some point it stopped for them, and they had to come up with a plan B. And a lot of them are in the political world, a lot of them in the music industry, a lot of them are doing art, a lot of them are doing a lot of other things. But they went to college, they got college degrees.
Yeah. Trey, a lawyer.
Yes.
And he's still putting out music. He got a new album coming out next month, I think.
Yeah, he's an attorney. I'm just saying, and they went to college and they really went to school.
Right.
They went to school. So I was saying the difference with our generations, new generations, school ain't as important to them. Everybody's pushing this entrepreneur thing. Yeah, you could be an entrepreneur, but still get a degree in something.
Right.
Very true.
But
that backup plan.
Yeah, it's my lesson for the day. I'm sorry.
It's all good. So shout out again our good buddy DJ John Doe, you know what I'm saying, for the invite, and it was definitely a good time. You know what I'm saying? On the couch, you know what I'm saying? We have another special guest on the couch in the cage with us today. You know what I'm saying? I have the pleasure of coaching his son in football at Pennsauken High School. You know what I'm saying? Great kid. You know what I'm saying? I met Wayne, and we just built a relationship after that. And what we're going to be talking about today, come to find out, he's a retired law enforcement police officer. such as yourself. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got the brother sisterhood right there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Come to find out, talking to him, he writes scripts. You know what I'm saying? How many of y'all can say y'all know somebody that writes scripts? And I've read them, and they're great. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get all into that. But my man Wayne is here with us in the cage and whatnot. And Wayne, won't you just say what's up to the people real
What's
quick?
up, people? How you feeling today? It's a pleasure and an honor to be here on this platform.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. Well, hey, man, let's get right into it. You know what I'm saying? For those that don't know who Mr. Wayne Davis is, you know what I'm saying? Let's start from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Where you from and all that good stuff.
Well, originally I was born in Jersey, and from New Jersey, my father at a very young age took me to St. Thomas, which is where I was raised until I was about 12 years old in the Virgin Islands, which is still part of the United States. A lot of people don't know that. You don't need a passport to go there. But check it, I was born, and where you're from is a much bigger question than those 2 or 3 words.
Right.
Recently, I found out I'm from Deborah Quiswell. That's my biological mother. And growing up, I was Wayne Davis, son of Junie Davis and Ann Davis. My father was in law enforcement. I've been a police officer for 32 years. And he took us to St. Thomas. I guess I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, so I went to school down there, grade school. And one of the things that I think really attributed to my wanting to be a storyteller is the fact that I was exposed to it at such a young age.
Okay.
When we had recess down there, you had 2 choices. You could play football or you could go listen to Sarah. Sarah was an old Haitian lady. I mean, it looked like she was carved out of a piece of onyx. That's how beautiful woman, though, big, beautiful woman. And she would tell the kids stories. So there'd be 50, 60 people, kids,
Right.
on the playground listening to this woman tell stories, old West African folk tales. But the way she painted a picture with her voice and voice inflection, just you were mesmerized
Right.
because you were there.
Right.
There's no greater theater than the one that you create in your mind. And I just fell in love with that. So every day, like I said, where I'm from, football is soccer. So like Edmund Argentes Nascimento, that was my sports hero.
Okay.
You know him as Pele.
Oh,
He came
okay.
to our school several
know.
times. I met him several times. And, I saw him. And the last time he was there, I did decline to go see him because Sarah was telling one of my favorite stories. That's the power of being a great orator.
Right,
And that's
right.
what she was. She was an amazing woman. And she just made me fall in love with telling stories. And that's something that the oral tradition is part of the African heritage that I think is almost, I'm afraid that it's being lost. Now, it's not being lost, it's transformed.
Right.
But the transformation because that's really what rap is. It's just a rap, hip hop, whatever you want to call it, is a continuation of the African tradition of telling a story.
Right.
And what happens is we get caught up, unfortunately, lately, all the stories seem to be about the same thing: the killing, the craziness that goes on in the world, and we're so much bigger than that as Black people.
Right.
My one of the things that I think has led me to really want to write the scripts, because we live in a visual world. Very few. I wanted to write books, and I started writing books. I started writing stories, just. But then I'm like, wow, nobody's reading anymore. Nobody's reading anymore. Everybody has to get their information. 98% of what we get is screen content.
Right.
So I said, man, maybe that's what I need to adopt my gift to, is to write a story that can be put on film. 1 page equals 1 minute of film. So my whole goal is by page 25, thanks to Save the Cat, which is a book written by Blake Snyder, that teaches screenwriting or gives you an outline. By page 20, by the 25th minute of any movie, if they haven't got your attention, they gonna get it.
Turn that thing.
Exactly.
So, real quick, before we go deeper into all of that, where was you a law enforcement officer at?
Pemberton Township.
Okay. Where was your father a law enforcement officer?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Manchester Township. He started in New Jersey at Manchester Township, which had the first Black police chief, Richie Payne, in South Jersey.
So how long were you in Virgin Islands?
For about 12 years.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. And it just, that was home. I mean, I was accustomed to swimming on Christmas, you know what I mean? And we moved back up in. My mother's from Asbury Park, New Jersey.
Okay.
Which leads me to the next part of my story, which she says I should write, but I don't know if I can do that now. I had the great honor and pleasure of becoming affiliated with my biological mother as I was adopted. And I didn't know that. Nobody ever said anything to me because my father at the time was, he's matured into a much gentler man.
Gotcha.
He said, look, you start telling him, because my mother had suffered several miscarriages after the birth of my older sister, and she couldn't have any more kids. So she adopted myself and my younger sisters. And I didn't get nothing but love anyway, so it didn't matter. I got love from everybody in my family, because that is the most powerful force in the universe. However, one of the things that motivates me to write is I write about, all my protagonists are primarily black people, because to be black or to be an African American, whatever you define yourself as, is to I think to live, to really live. I mean, one thing I'm very proud of is the fact that our people, the music, the food, I don't know about the new culture, but the old culture, like you said, matter of fact, y'all were discussing a family event when I came in, and I'm like, wow, you know, that reminded me of all the family reunions we had, all the getting together with my cousins at their house. My mother's one of 19. Matter of fact, my uncle, her brother, Frank Budd, at Villanova, it was the world's fastest man at one point. And they named the stadium at Villanova Frank Budd Stadium. And that's my uncle. But
that's your uncle?
That's my uncle.
Wow,
listen,
I think my dad talks about Frank Budd a lot.
But we would hope that you would write about black people, because I'm looking at you and I don't know if you really can be white.
No, I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know that. But my point is, if you see, what I'm saying is, my stories sometimes, and I've been fortunate enough to have Coach Bird as one of my readers, because my stories are like my children. Who I let read them, because I don't write for anybody else but me. And my kids, when I read them stories, I didn't read them Goldilocks. You hear me? Because it wasn't applicable. So I would read them, and my wife, what is that you writing? What you gonna give them nightmares? No, listen, I write stories about black people because our lives are not something that we can afford. We can have everybody else tell our story, and that's what's been happening.
And as we shouldn't, though.
Right, exactly.
You control the pen to your life, and I say it all the time. I'm never going to let nobody tell my story, because it ain't theirs to tell.
Exactly.
It's my story to tell. I control the pen. I put the periods and the exclamation points where I need them to be.
Yes, ma'am.
So, you know, we got to, and I tell the young people all the time, for any of those that listen, never let anybody write your story or control the narrative to your story. You have to control that.
That's 100% truth. And I'm going to tell you something. All these cats that want to be writers, that want to consider themselves to be, they got a pen and they want to write down rap. Listen, do something different, because unless somebody listens to this type of music, your type of music, they're never going to hear you. And every black narrative doesn't have to end in somebody losing their life. Or I'm in the car last year with my daughter. I have 4 children. My oldest is 38. I got a 38-year-old, a 29-year-old, a 16-year-old that you coach, and a 7-year-old. And I think that 7-year-old might have been a exactly. Three girls and one boy.
32 to 7, bro. I don't know. Your math ain't. Listen,
the 7-year-old was a good time.
7-year-old was an event.
It's funny. My wife says to me, remember
they must have went out to dinner.
Remember that anniversary? You were 19. I said, you were. She was 3 months pregnant before I even believed it. You know, at the end of the day, I love all my kids, and they're beautiful, and they're my biggest blessing. At the end of the day, I'm trying to be the best father I can be, because I had a good dad. And it's funny, because on the weekends, usually when Cyrus's friends comes over, my son is really a friend to all. So they come over, Mr. Davis, my mom wants to know if you got this. Or can you come tighten this? And I guess we've been there about 3 or 4 years. And she says to me, all this going over to help these women out. What you getting out? I said, they don't have there's nobody at the house.
Right.
Unfortunately for
listen, they better get Angie.com.
You sound like her.
Listen, sis, I know you probably going to watch, because I agree with you. Next time he go anywhere, put AngieList.com on a piece of paper and put it in his pocket. So when he get there and he go to take his head out of his pocket, it'll fall out. Oh, my wife told me to give you this.
Exactly. But my family is everything to me. My mother's one of 19.
Right.
So I always had my cousins around as well, and it was always a blessing for us to be close. But like you said, our generation has dropped the ball in maintaining those connections. It seems like every time I go to a family funeral or a function, I'm meeting new cousins that I've never seen before. They're like, this so-and-so's kid. I'm like, where did he come from? Oh, this so, that's just the disconnect, unfortunately, that we've had, which really in today's society is easier to stay connected. So that's kind of a shame that we didn't take advantage of the Facebook.
But I think, just real quick, going on the family note, I think although we have these social media platforms that kind of link people, society has made even though they have all these platforms now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Society has made people more selfish with who they are and not want to share who they are with everyone. They only share what they want people to know.
That's
if
very
that makes
true.
sense. I only want to share the good stuff, right?
Right.
I don't want to share the bad stuff. So if your family ain't the Partridge Family or the Cosbys,
Right.
you might not want to share that
Right.
with the world.
Yeah, all of us didn't come from the Huxtables. Very true. Very true.
Although we like to share all our mess.
Yes, yes, we do. Yes, we do.
I think it's fun.
True that.
Because people be like, yo, y'all related? Yeah, we are.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but Wayne came in here and his father-in-law writes movies, writes scripts. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have it up on the screen when this airs and whatnot. But I know all of y'all out there, or a lot of y'all out there that view. You know what I'm saying? Blood and Bone. I know you've seen Obsession, and that's just 2 out of the 4 that I'm looking at. And I'm definitely gonna go watch the other 2. You know what I'm saying? Now
What
that I know
platform are they on?
that I know.
Netflix.
Yeah, because I know I seen
All-
Blood and
all of-
Bone.
yeah,
all
you
of them
seen
on
Blood and
Netflix,
Bone.
yeah.
All on
yeah,
Netflix.
yeah,
And the thing
yeah.
is, you know, this is a game.
And
Yeah,
Obsession.
definitely.
Everybody, this generation is about get the bag. I got to get the bag. Listen, the rap game is saturated with some of it's straight garbage. I'm gonna be honest with you,
Very
straight
true.
garbage in
Very
my
true.
opinion.
Very true.
However, you know,
Very true.
if you want to build a legacy and listen, the man he writes a script, he sells it for $75,000, and you know, I think he's an amazing writer, but some of the things he's written are just. It's all his.
Right.
How did you get started in screenwriting?
You know what? I started writing. Like I said, I wanted to write books, and I realized that nobody's reading anymore. Not like they used to. I mean, I love to read. I'm a voracious reader, and I watched a show called I'm sure you've seen it, Hunger Games. And I took a master class. You ever seen a master class on your phone? You can take a master class with anybody you want about anything. Master class is called.
Okay.
I took a master class about screenwriting, about writing, period, with Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman is the author and creator of Coraline. Neil Gaiman wrote The Sandman. Neil Gaiman wrote Lucifer. And what he would do, he'd take an ordinary subject, like The Sandman. Everybody knows the story of the Sandman. And he'd flip it. Or he'd take the story of Lucifer and flip it and to just twist it a little bit, which gave me the idea to say, who's the most well-known person in the world? To you. Because who do you think the most well-known person in the world is?
You don't want me to answer that.
Oh, I'm going to answer for you. I'm going to answer for you because your answer and my answer might be the same. Jesus.
That's what I was going to say.
Right.
So, all right. So,
what I
we on the
did-
same page.
Oh, all
Because I was
day.
about to say
All
God.
day, God is
all right.
no, but the thing
Because
is,
y'all know I'll go
that's
right
right.
into
You have to get there. You have to
Listen.
get there with it. I mean, so I wrote a story about Jesus, but I flipped it.
Flipped it.
And what it was,
flipped it,
Jesus. The
you
story's
flipped
actually
it.
about Jesus' twin brother.
He flipped
Does
it.
he have a twin brother? No. But what if he did? And how would that look? So it's called JC 2026 Redemption.
Amazing.
And thank you, sir. And you know, while I was watching this movie, The Hunger Games, it's a series of movies, I guess.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
And my daughter loved the thing, and she's like, "Oh my God, Dad, you gotta check this out. It's so good." So I'm like, "Well, how come Katniss Everdeen couldn't be black? What if she was black?" So which led me to write. And I'm a big horror buff, so I wrote a story about I'm not gonna give it away. A character, Renee Toussaint, who was a Creole from Louisiana.
Yeah,
And,
I don't do horror.
Yep. And I wrote a story called The Perfect Monster, and which Coach
Another
Coach
amazing
wrote.
one.
And again, I try to put our kids, take your mind out of so and so just got shot, so and so, because those are unfortunate realities of our community, and we need to start loving each other again. But if you have any turmoil in yourself, realize that the whole purpose of any of us being here is to evolve. You have to evolve. We've got to be better than what we are today. My grandmother told me a long time ago, look, the whole point of life is to be a better you tomorrow than you were today. Because today you should be
You
better
heard
than
that
you were
before.
yesterday. You know, but that's
Yeah, you
generational.
did talk about
You know,
that,
but
yeah.
I'm saying you got to
Yeah.
know this woman had 19 kids. You got to understand what kind of life she had
Right.
in the time
Right,
that she
right,
was.
right,
You know,
right.
we
She had
gotta-
none.
None, exactly. Her life was her children.
Right.
She lived for her children. She lived for her legacy. And Arletta Budd was no joke. I mean, at the end of the day, they don't even make women that strong anymore. No, you don't make people like that.
Heck no.
Yeah, okay,
Right, yeah.
you talking about strength.
But
and
listen, they said my grandma had 12 kids.
God bless
My
her.
mom said my grandma would have a baby and be on the bus stop in a week going back to work.
Oh my, yeah.
Now, I don't even know how true that was. But when I look at the math, because I look at the math of my aunts and uncles,
Yes.
they real like right behind each other. So she couldn't have got no break.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if she even got a lunch break.
No.
It's funny that you say that because now guys could take
6 months off.
Yes, family leave.
You know what I'm saying?
Somebody look at me.
Guys could take off.
Somebody look at me right now and think about me having a baby. I ain't never going back to work.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
But I must get my genes from my grandma because my youngest is 29 and I was a police officer when I had her.
Okay.
And I was the first patrol woman.
Wow.
To have a baby. Not the
about
first
that?
officer. It was me and another Spanish girl.
Camden?
That was Camden City. It was me and another Spanish girl that was pregnant together, but she was a dare officer, so she was considered a detective, and she wasn't in patrol.
Okay.
I was actually in patrol,
Yes.
a street cop. I was the first patrol woman ever to have a baby
God
underneath
bless
the Kansas City Police Department. So they didn't know what to do with me, right? So Family Leave Act was signed in 1993.
Yes.
Okay.
But the police department didn't know how to utilize it. I had my baby in 94, February. They didn't know how to utilize it. The city didn't know how to utilize it. So when I attempted to say, well, it's this new law that they passed, I could use it. They said, nah, we don't know nothing about that. So I didn't know that I could have just maybe later on sued or something.
Right.
I just was like, all right, well, I'm gonna use my sick days. But because was only a year on,
Right.
I only had enough sick days to take me out 6 weeks.
Ooh.
Well, my baby was 2 weeks late.
Man.
So on week 4, I go back to the midnight shift. First night back getting a foot pursuit in Branch Village.
Oh my God.
They found me in the bathroom in the PAB.
I know they did. I know they did.
Balled over,
Yeah.
about to go to Cooper Trauma.
Yeah, but you went. But you know what I'm saying?
But I'm saying they don't build women like that.
No, they
no
don't
more.
build them like
I
that.
know
Nah.
Dad gonna write well if I have a baby. Shit, if my kid have a baby, I'm taking off 6 months.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. You have to. But
I need to be there for support.
be there
that's
for
a
support.
testament to the
Facts.
strength that you have and a blessing that your children have having you as a
Society
mother.
don't want you to be strong
They
no
don't.
more.
They
And
don't.
I don't want to be strong.
No, well, you've been strong enough, apparently.
But yo, you know what? Back to your screenwriting. So when we were talking about you coming on and you was a screenwriter, and then Coach Bird said, yeah, I read his stuff. And I was like, what did he get you to read it for?
Let me tell you something. You know why? Can I tell you why? I'm going to answer your question for you. My son comes home from practice, and he says to me, you know, Dad, Coach Bird said I did good today. And this happened 2 or 3 times. I'm like, well, who the hell is Coach? And, you know, and then, of course, you know, I live behind the 45th Street pub, so, you know, I'm looking at this dude across. I'm like, okay, he's a good guy. And as a black man, examples matter. The example that you set for other black males to come after you matter. And people don't understand that. How you act in the street, how you carry yourself matters. My son watches this man every day, and he sees how he carries himself, how he relates to people, how he speaks to people. And
I like
it's a pleasure to know that it doesn't all fall on Dad. 'Cause
Right,
sometimes I drop the ball. I'm gonna tell you that
Now,
right now.
he's really a good dude,
No,
but you
very
got to
good.
understand, for those that watch, it's like my brother.
Yes.
And you know, it's like
Y'all bicker
when
like
you
brother and
say,
sister.
right? And when you say, like, somebody gave you what?
Yes.
Like I wouldn't give it to you.
No,
Like,
it matters because there's somebody else. He's getting affirmation from someplace else.
I know, I'm just joking.
True that.
But I'm just saying, you know, when it's family,
Nah.
you go somewhere else before you be like, yo, your family get done. Oh, I forgot all about that.
True that. Very true. And at the end of the day, you know
I
what
appreciate
happens? What we do
I
is
appreciate that too, because he
people-
needs to be picked up.
No, he's a great dude, man. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I don't say that because of any other reason that I've seen his work. I've seen how the care and effort that he puts into these kids. Even when they graduate, maybe now they're old enough to sit next to him at the bar.
Yeah,
he's
right.
still
He's
Coach
still-
Bird.
yeah,
The
yeah.
respect is still given because he never disrespected. He always tried to guide you in the right way. At the end of the day, that's what matters. We are allowing people on screen that we don't know to raise our children, and people understand that is a no-no. Right. So my whole point of putting out the content that I'm putting out, and that's what I plan on doing, after I finish my 20th script, I'm going to go ham on the screenwriting game. I mean, as far as entering into contests and trying to get my content out there, because I think I have a gift and I have a talent, but most of my scripts are about black protagonists. And, you know, at the end of the day, our people don't need to see anymore. I mean, every movie about black people don't have to be about slavery. Just living life.
Right.
And yeah, there's some extraordinary circumstances, but we have extraordinary circumstances. You know, at the end of the day.
True. What's your what's the process?
That's what I was going to say. So
like, how does that work?
How does it go?
You
like
you get
think
the
about
idea,
it.
Get an idea.
And then you start
I'm
to
gonna tell
write.
you something. It's a
write
monster
some
in my
notes
head.
first,
It's a monster in my head. I can't turn it off.
Okay.
Everything's a damn movie. My wife would be talking to me. She's like, where you at? I'm like, hold on a second. Something, I'll see something. It'll spark.
So real quick, because we got a lot of young people that watch. So without being going like really in depth and detail, just give us like the step by step, just in case they're thinking about it. So you have the thought in your head, right?
Right. I hope they're thinking about it. At the end of the day, if you're watching let's say it's I'm gonna get off the hard tip. Let's think of church, God. I wrote a script. It's funny. My mother's read my stuff. She's like, Wayne, your imagination's off the chain. So she said to the woman that raised me, Ann Davis, says, could you write a Christian story? I said, okay.
Right.
So I wrote her Lucky 7.
Another good one. Read it.
She loved it. She loved it. And Lucky 7 is about God. It's about total commitment and submission to God. And while I am not a preacher or a reverend or pastor or whatever, you know, when people stop thinking about God and stop realizing that his presence and his force is actually present in everything you do, they lose themselves. You know, you take a fish out the water, you still got water. The fish is dead, though. You take the tree out the land, you still got land, but the tree is dead. You take God out of man, God's still God. Man is dead. Because you don't realize your spirit is everything. We're all here for a short time. This is a rental.
Right.
This body is a rental. And people don't understand that. We act like you're going to live forever. You're going to live forever, but how are you living and what are you going to evolve into?
Right.
You know, at the end of the day, you've got to try to do your best and be your best, not just for you, but for the people around you, people that you say you love. You got to love hard today because tomorrow's not promised. What they say, God, man plans, God laughs. Because you think you know how many alarm clocks I've turned off in my career? You too, I'm sure.
Right, so all right, let's rewind this.
Okay.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
So you on task. 'Cause I'm gonna have to reel you in. I see this going. Because we gotta reel you in. So you have the thought in your head, correct?
Yes. I have the thought in my
So
head.
you put notes on paper.
I write down, I got notes scribbled all over everything.
Then you turn the notes into what?
I turn the notes into a rough outline.
Then the rough outline becomes what?
The rough outline becomes my first draft.
Okay.
The first draft is then actually, I go through names, I go through places, where's the setting, how's it set, character development, that's all part of the rough outline. Then the final draft, which is the name of the program that I use to write on, called Final Draft. And that is how I develop my final draft. I iron out all the kinks. But everything starts with these little notes. Then it goes to a first draft. Sometimes people don't write more than a first draft, but they think if you're that good, you can get down in one shot.
Right.
I don't think so. I don't know anybody that does that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you've got to be Rashida's a writer. She's a professional writer.
Tell me that.
Rashida Fields at the 45th Street. But at the end of the day, you've got to be cognizant about the message that you are trying to convey. And you don't write necessarily chronological. Your ending might come to you before you're even done but you got to write it down.
Right.
If this is how you want your story to end, you have to write that down and commit it. I put a lot of stuff in my phone.
Okay.
You know, at the end of the day, if something hits me, I'm out of dinner or something.
Right.
You know,
Right.
They're like, what are you doing? Are you texting somebody? Mama, I'm like, no, baby, I'm not texting. You talking about text somebody?
Just write down some
So
thoughts.
That's it.
just know, because I've been told this a million times and I haven't acted on it. Everybody has a story inside of them.
Everybody, all of us.
So it's just a matter of taking what's in you and putting it down, writing it down, and then putting it on paper and
Right.
then, getting it together. So everybody does have a story in them. It's just everybody ain't a writer.
But everybody knows how to write. If you're in school, you can write down. It doesn't have to be pretty. Just write. You actually don't even have to write anymore. You got keyboards.
Yeah, I didn't think I could write.
Okay.
Right? So writing ain't my thing. But I've been hearing lately that I'm a bitch in the email.
There you go.
They said my emails be smoking.
I believe it. I believe it. That's too funny.
Now, how long does that usually take? Like, does
It depends
I
on the
guess
subject
varies?
matter. It depends on the subject matter. You read Gods of Our Own.
Right.
Gods of Our Own is a screenplay about a young man from Camden who goes away and finds out that his family has a legacy down south and that there's a connection to Ifa. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Ifa. Ifa is the African tradition, I'm not going to say religion, an African tradition of communicating with your ancestors, asking for them for counsel, asking them for advice. I mean, you have conversations with those people. You are naturally connected to your past. There's a connection that nobody can break. It's your birthright. At the end of the day, when you learn how to calm yourself, and when I say calm yourself in your stillest moment, you can communicate with and I don't want to sound like I'm crazy, but you can communicate and get advice and think about what you're doing. And you might think the right thought is yours, but it's not. You have an ancestor that has been tasked with making sure you don't mess up. Making sure that you don't go left when you're not supposed
Well,
to
where
go
they
left.
at?
Yeah, well, how quiet are you? I don't see you being quiet.
Where they at? Oh, I done been quiet.
I said in your quiet, stillest moment, Cousin Tracy.
I've been quiet, and I think they still. I think my ancestors be like, "Let's go and let this heifer mess up."
Oh my God!
So then when she come back again, we can be like, "Now how did that work out
How
for
did
you?"
that work out for you? Yeah, you crazy.
But it's funny.
That's what's
There
up.
are things that as far as spirituality go, which is really a lot of the subject matter that I write about, are people finding their own spirit, their own personal growth. How do I evolve from this person into that person? A lot of my protagonists go through that. What am I going to do different? What am I going to do? How do I deal with this situation, which may be supernatural in nature, or it can be some regular old life situation?
Right.
How am I going to become a better me? Which is really what the task is, man. You hear it's a test. This life is a test. You got to try to get closer to God, but you've got to find your better self to do so. True. You've got to understand that every relationship that you have should be a positive relationship because we're all related. We're all brothers and sisters. We're all children of God. At the end of the day, you've got to believe that you are here to help somebody. You're here to help somebody. True. And when I see examples of that, like Coach Bird, really. He didn't know my son before football. He didn't know but you know what? He tells him the right thing when it counts. Don't go there. Sorry, you're supposed to be in class. What do you got? At the end of the day, he's important because I'm counting on him that if he sees Cyrus doing something silly, he's gonna stop that man.
Right,
Say, daggone well, your parents raised you better.
Right.
That was what we used to give. Come on, man.
True.
The language. I mean, I work in the school now. I retired from the Permanent Township Police Department, and I work for the Cherry Hill Campus Police. Great organization. I love it, but children are not.
Campus Police.
Cherry Hill Campus Police.
You carry weapons?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just came from
They
Marines.
hiring?
They got we got a Pensacola too.
Yeah.
We got security, man.
Yep.
Sure.
Most places, Pensacola just got rid of the actual police. Now they've got civilians that are licensed to carry.
Right.
But at the end
I
of
don't do that.
No, you don't. At the end but Cherry Hill Campus Police is hiring. They will be. I don't know if there's any opening now.
Wait, I think Panera works out there.
Yeah, Paneros. That's my boy Eddie.
Oh, that's my young boy.
Eddie P. That's my man right there. Eddie P. I was trying to get Kurt. Kurt Davis?
They're my best friend.
No relation, but that's my boy.
That's my best friend. Kurt ain't doing that.
He's not doing that. He went for the interview. They were like, well, no, right.
Yeah,
because we just had two guys retire.
He ain't doing that.
Yeah.
I can't even get him to come turn my dirt over this month.
That's funny.
Small world.
Small world.
Small
We're
world.
all related, man. And the
Beautiful
point is,
thing.
I guess the point of my being here, really, and I really appreciate this platform. I'd love to. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. Is to maybe start a clinic with some kids that are interested in.
All right, so let me tell you how you do it.
I'm listening. All is.
I work for Coopers Point Family School. I work for Kansas City School District now. I'm a retired police officer. You're in the right position. And let me tell you why. You're already in the school. So they ain't got to do no background check on you.
Right.
Every school wants after school programming.
Okay.
Just go to the principal, or we have what's called a family operations coordinator. That's what I do. So you would come to me and be like, look, I want to meet with a bunch of kids at the school. Boom, 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 boom. Make an announcement. It happens.
Right.
And it's easy because you're already there.
Right.
And they don't have to, number one, especially if you ain't trying to charge no money, you already there. It gives them something to say that they've done. Mm-hmm. Boom.
Okay.
We got this after school program that does screenwriting. Boom. Because they got to send all their reports to the state
Right.
on all their programming that they got for students.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. It's like a little glee club.
But everything happens for a reason, right?
For a reason. So you here.
True,
And you are, like, the hardest part for you is already done.
Okay.
The background check is done. You're already in the school.
Right. And the thing is, I really want to, I feel like, this cat here never stops coaching. You year-round coach, right?
Year-round.
God bless you, man. And, your activity in the community, through all the episodes I've watched, is quite intense.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, you
I've
give
been going
back.
since 9 o'clock this morning.
Both of y'all you're givers. You know what I'm saying? And the world needs more givers. Everybody wants to take.
True.
You know what I mean? And I'm just not with that. That's not what life's about. You got to give something to somebody. You got to serve somebody. That's what the song says.
And I was going to
anyway.
say that. I was going to say
You know?
that.
And
Plus, hey, listen, we do open gym in Camden every Friday night.
Okay.
And it's about 200 kids that come through there. You can set up a table, have a little screenwriting seat, talk to some kids about how to screenwrite. It's always an opportunity
just throughout
to
the
pour
summer?
into. It's all year long, every
Okay.
Friday. It's always an opportunity to pour into young people. We do it every week in Camden.
Okay, well, you know what? Hey, I'm off. We got 30 days of school left, so
Yeah.
I'm off every summer. That's the reason why I took
Hey,
this job.
listen.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I'd
Definitely
love to be able to inspire some. Like I said, like Tupac said, I'd say, my music I may not change the world, but my music may spark the mind that does. That's all I'm trying to do. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to spark some
Yeah, I'll
minds.
bring you in.
That's it. You know, I'm
I'll
not
bring
trying
you
to
in
do
on a
it.
Friday night in the
Okay,
summer.
that's it.
You
That'll
could
work for
come,
me.
bring you right on
Let
in.
me know, Cousin
You
Tracy.
could do a little.
That's like a celebrity thing right there. Celebrity endorsed by Cousin Tracy.
Endorsed by
Yeah,
Cousin
that's-
Matter of fact,
Tracy.
when you give me my shirt, I was going to have Cousin Tracy sign it. But I didn't get my hoodie yet. I've been harassing
listen.
Cyrus. There you go. There it is right there. I said, sign the back.
You know what I'm
You know?
saying?
Mm.
Bye.
At the end of the day,
Thank you.
nice color.
This right here is the
Thank
hottest
you.
fashion commodity going in soccer player, the Birdcage hoodie. You only got one, go cop one.
Go cop-
This
there you
man,
go.
Oh, I
right
like
there.
that.
You go cop one
Go
of these.
cop
Go
one.
cop
Cop
one.
That's what's up. At the end of the day, you have to be real fresh with this. That's what's up. If you know Coach Bird, Cousin Tracy, you in there like
Hit me
swimwear
up.
all day.
Hit
Listen,
me
if
up.
you know
Hit me
Coach
up.
Burr, you know Cousin Tracy. That's all.
That's fact.
But again, I
That's fact.
really appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity to just reach out to some of these young people and let them know.
Yeah, we ain't done with you.
Everything's
Oh, yeah,
not
we
about
got a couple
everything's not about a rap. Everything's not about how many lines you can spit, how many bars you got. But we all have a story. You got it. It's in you already. It's
But
already
you
there.
know, when I do like, cause by the way, when I do like interviews and everybody didn't come here to be a Jay-Z or Beyonce,
Right, yes, ma'am. I
Somebody
agree.
got to write movies. Everybody
Yes.
gonna know Tyler Perry neither, but somebody's doing the legwork.
Right. Yes, ma'am. I
Somebody
agree.
got to be the little guy that writes the words that Tyler Perry decides to take the script and put it on the screen.
Right. That's exactly it. And you know what that little guy does? That little guy is the one that controls the story.
Controls the pen.
You control your life, right?
Right.
Control your own story. Write it down.
True.
Write it down. You're bored? Go write it down. You ain't got time to do something. The PlayStation and Xbox ain't gonna get you paid. If you write the right story, enter the right contest, like the Nicole Fellowship. A contest like that, I think the prize is like almost $300,000, and you get a stipend. Then you've got exposure because, you go on the blacklist and post your story. You don't even need an agent nowadays.
Right.
You go on the blacklist, post your story for $30. They keep it on there for a month, so it's $1 a day. Or you buy a membership and you just continuously post your story. Somebody likes it and reads it, and they contact you, and they're like, "Hey, can I buy that from you?" You know what I'm saying? So don't be discouraged, because if you want to write as a career, you want to be a career screenwriter, I got a career screenwriter I can hook you up with, as far as meeting somebody that's actually wrote the card. I don't know what I did with it.
Right.
But that wrote the card, and I'm gonna tell you something, not even a high school graduate. Not even a high school graduate.
outta here.
Okay, no, I'm serious. I'm for real.
Wow.
Not even a high school graduate. But at the end of the day, he understood that, I've got to do something.
Right.
And Michael Andrews, not from the same background we are. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But the cat is a ridiculous writer. He's got talent, and he took away and put it on paper. Here are the rules. Here's the outline.
Right.
As far as where it has to be,
Right.
how to follow. And that's all a lot of these kids need to know. Get that book, Save the Cat, is the book that I used and that he recommended to me, and it really worked. Save the Cat is the name of the book by Blake Snyder. They carry it at Barnes & Noble. Go get your copy and just read up on how to begin. And that'll be your first draft. Write everything down. You can be like a stenographer at court. Write everything down.
Right.
Stuff that you think is kind of crazy today that happened to me, write it down. There's a movie, there's a story there. There's something that of value in your life. Every day that you live, that you wake up as a gift. God didn't wake you up for no reason.
True.
You woke up. Everybody said, "Hey, Wells Davis, how you doing?" I said, "I woke up this morning. That's a win. That's a win.
That's a win. That's a win.
And like I said, I turn off a lot of alarm clocks in my career. And that's why I don't own one. I do not own an alarm clock. I'm up every morning, 5:30, just my eyes pop open. I thank the Lord. And I get up and I go brush my teeth like everybody else. At the end of the day,
I don't know if everybody brushed their teeth.
well, I'd hope that there'd be some hygiene going on. At the end of the day, she clowning me. So at the end of the day, there's got to be.
It's not you. It's just society. Like
It's gotta be a
society
reason.
got jokes.
It's some crazy ass people. But again, society does have jokes. Write them down, because society plays with all of us.
Man.
Write it down. There's a movie there, man. Don't be like everybody else. Everybody don't have to be like Cousin Trey said. There's no Jay-Z and Beyonce and everybody.
Right.
But it's something in everybody.
Everybody's got a gift. Every single person walking this planet has a gift, and that gift is life, and that life took place today. Write it down. You know, you want to embellish, you can. It's almost like you create your own universe.
Right.
You know, if I want to create a character, some of these characters, a lot of these characters in my stories, are people that I dealt with as a narcotics detective.
Gotcha.
Chucky Smoke was a real person. Tattoo Trang was a real person. Those were real characters that I had to deal with in the dope game when I was, trying to do what I had to do.
Right.
At the end of the day, everyone comes into your life for a reason, either for inspiration or a warning. There are people that you know to stay away from,
right,
and there's people you want to hold closer to you. That's all it is. And again, like I said, I'm very appreciative of this opportunity to
thank you.
to speak to
Glad
people.
for you stopping by.
Thank
we
you so much,
appreciate
guys. I appreciate you.
Real quick before we wrap this up.
Yes.
Future plans. Just
My
continue
future
to write.
plans continue to write. I write 3 stories at a time always. Like I said, I can't turn this monster off. Everything is a story.
Like at the same time? Like you're
No,
working
no,
on
no,
3?
I mean,
Oh, but
no,
just,
no.
I
I
was
write-
going to say. Like,
some days
I was getting ready to say, they got some pills
I was like,
that have
damn.
solids,
It's just
some of that stuff going on in your
I was
head.
about to say, I'm more impressed with your stories now. If you wrote all 3 of them at the same time,
I'm saying 3 stories at a time because every day,
I got you.
there's some days I feel like Garvey, some days I feel like Renee Toussaint, some days I feel like what's going on today and who's going to relate to it. It's kind of pick my protagonist.
Got you.
And go that route. You know what I mean? But it's all a blessing, and I really, just like I said, share your story with the world because it's why God put you here.
Right.
End of story.
That's what's up. Well, listen, when you blow up, just remember the Birdcage
yes.
had
Y'all
you
be on the
on
red carpet
the
with
red
me.
carpet. You know what I'm
I
saying?
get to pick who plays me. Because everybody can't play me.
I believe that's probably true. You're probably right about that. No doubt.
No, that's
Very
what's
unique
up.
individual
I think
over
I'm
here.
a Tiffany Haddish.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I can see that.
Tiffany Haddish.
I can see a Tiffany
Yeah,
Haddish.
she can play me.
Cousin Tracy can be Tiffany, without a
That's
doubt.
what's up.
Without
That's
a
what's
doubt.
up. You got any shout outs, anything before
You know
we
what?
get
I
out of
want
here?
to shout out my mom, both my moms, Ann Davis and Deborah Criswell, the woman that actually had me at the age of 11. She was 11 years old when she had me. I was fortunate enough to, yes.
Wow.
And that's a whole nother story.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, it's been a blessing to have her in my life. She's at my house right now, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Her story is something I'd have to really make sure I've crafted my skills to the utmost to write that down because she is probably the strongest person I've ever met in my life. The ordeal that life gave her, and she's the reason why I'm here.
Right.
And the reason why her grandchildren are here, because no Deborah Criswell, no Wayne Davis, no Cyrus Davis, no Oren Davis.
Right.
Oren, no Taylor Davis, no, Cassandra. None of my kids would be here because I wouldn't be here.
Right.
And to tough it out as a biracial child in the time period that she grew up, she was telling her granddaughter today that octoroon, teach her the word octoroon. I'm like, Mom, what do you say? She said, well, that's what they used to call me. I'm like, octoroon, what does that even mean? That's not something we do now.
Right.
At the end of the day, she is amazing. And most women, you don't realize as men, we want to be strong. We want to be, we have our sports figures and our heroes. We don't realize how powerful women are. And we don't realize the ordeal that they go through to survive in this world as women. And endure not only the prejudices and the biases and the harassments, but they keep their head up. The majority of them, especially black women, they keep their head up through it all. And they're also, while they're keeping their head up, they got to carry their men, their children in their lives, keep their heads above water. We're all sinking out here, folks. You know what? Unless you have somebody that has enough love in them to hold you up and themselves, and you got to say thank you. And that's why I try to write those kind of stories that make people think, hey, you know what? What am I thankful for? I'm going through a dark time right now. It's okay. Write it down.
Right.
If you write it down, then you don't want to go out there and hurt nobody.
Right.
That's not the key. The key is to write it down, cope with it. And somebody else may want to hear your story. They might want to see that because they may relate. How many movies and we all say, oh, that's my movie. Because you relate.
Right, true.
It resonated with you.
Very
and that's
true.
all. I try to write things that are going to resonate with people.
That's what's up. Well, like I said, I've read, whatever, like 6 of them?
Yeah,
something like that. 7, 6.
I didn't even know you had that in you.
Yeah, especially, and like he said, though, like it catches me, you know what I'm saying, at that point, and it's like, I'm like,
Y'all
all right,
see
what
he
happens
tried to get
next?
real serious,
What happens
like,
next? What happens next? What happens next? I'm telling you, they're good. They're good.
Because I said I didn't know he had it in him. He tried to get serious.
When he makes them available, then you can check it out too.
Yeah,
You know
listen, Cousin Tracy, let me know. I'll mail them to you if you want. I'll just give it to my man here. He'll give them to you.
Nah, they're very good though.
Yeah, I'll give you a copy. You let me know what you want. You know, I guess I'll give you a
long as it's not no horror.
What's horror? What do you define as
horror movie, horror movie, scary, all of that.
I don't believe he's scared of anything. I really don't believe he's scared of anything.
Nah. He probably not. When he said he had the horror joint, it's not like.
Nah, I don't do cut up slash.
I ain't all that.
We don't do that. We don't do that.
I'm scary.
Not at all. That's what's up. Well, bro, appreciate you.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks again for sliding through, spending a little bit of your time here, you know what I mean, on the couch in the cage and telling your story. And
this is what's up.
Definitely appreciate you and nothing but much success to you. And from what I've read, and you're going to be just fine. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure we get on the red carpet.
I'm always true though. Like I said, I expect a table in the gym.
Absolutely. I'm on
if she say it,
these kids, you know, that's what's important. That's the future. They need to realize their story is important. If nobody else wants to listen to your story, write it down. Write a script. They can make them watch it. You know what I mean? They can. If you think that you've had a unique experience in life, write it down, y'all. You know, because
absolutely, I got you.
That's what's important.
Right.
You know.
Got you.
So definitely, and also just you know, let me say this before I wrap my little wrap up. You know what I'm saying? Our younger viewers out there, you know what I'm saying? It's not all about what sport you play and trying to excel in a certain sport. There's other avenues, as you say. You know what I'm saying? You have imaginations. You have your own story. Like Wayne said, write it down. You never know what can happen with that. You know what I'm saying? And you never know, once you start doing it, you might find a love for it and want to continue honing your skills, and then you'll be selling some scripts to Netflix.
Yep,
you know what I'm saying? So you know, so that's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to give another shout out to John. You know what I'm saying, for the invite yesterday. We definitely the BYRDCAGE was out and about. It was much needed because, like Wayne alluded to, and Cousin Tracy always talks about, yes, I do coach all year round, so it was definitely fun to get up the road a little bit, you know what I'm saying, and have a little fun up there, to be outside, yeah, you know what I'm saying, to be outside. So shouts out to you, John Doe. Good to see Mitty, Jay, Lance, all those guys. Nice to meet Do It All, you know what I'm saying, doing this thing as a councilman now, you know what I'm saying, that's big, and appreciate all y'all. About to do this cousin thing. I'm looking forward to that. You know what I'm saying? We'll have some stories next week about that. You know what I'm saying?
I can't wait.
Sure.
Once again, don't forget Bowling with a Purpose.
Tomorrow.
Right? Tomorrow, 10:30. You know what I'm saying? Slide
and
through.
Don't worry, I suck. So everybody came in cracking about the athletes can't bowl. Me and Seth are not really good bowlers, so come join us. I don't feel too bad alone.
I think I got 100, then like a 95, then like an 88 or something, 92 or something. Yeah. But it's just about the camaraderie, the fun, the whole nine. You know what I'm saying? So that's 10:30, and you can't beat it. You get practice time and 3 games for $12.50 a person,
and it goes to a good cause.
And it goes to a good cause.
Camden City Youth
goes to a good cause.
Programs.
So you definitely can't beat that. What you got for us, guys?
So I'm just going to reiterate what I said earlier. First off, thank you for coming up. I am going to touch base with you after this.
Yes.
To try to get you so kids can just kind of run some things by you. Seth, you know, I loved hanging out with you. I'm loved that you was outside. I'm looking forward to maybe more outside events, being outside.
Yes, definitely. Much needed.
Thank you to John Doe for inviting me. I'll be up there to your wife's to see her art exhibit. Her art exhibit runs from May 6th. The grand opening is actually next Sunday. I can't make that. Next Saturday, May 6th, until June 30th, I believe. I can't make next May 6th, but I'll be up there in May to check her out. Her stuff looks amazing. Bisa Butler on Instagram. Check out her stuff. Amazing. And it's good artist for us young people to see, other than just for the culture, not just clothing, not just music, not just... We need visual art. We need to see visual art too, and sculptures and things like that. It's all about the culture. All of it is cultural. Just to finish up, remember, young people, do not let anybody control the pen to the story of your life. You are in control of your own destiny. You control whether you succeed and or you fail. Do not give someone else that type of power. Always control your pen.
truth. That is so true.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? I can't say anything else after that. So, once again, episode 94. You know, I gotta get my numbers right.
94.
I messed
But
up a
you
couple
text me.
episodes back. Had a little hiccup there, so I gotta focus and concentrate. Episode 94 in the books. This is the lovely COUSIN TRACEY, you know what I'm saying? Our special guest, my man, my good friend, Wayne Davis. And once again, I am Sechuayo, a.k.a. Coach Bird. I'm the host of the BYRDCAGE Show, and we'll talk to you soon. Yes, indeed.
Good job.
It was a stone groove, my man.